Okay.
Well, all right then. The my roommate was sent around a thing on her emails, and it says the trick is not to get through the storm, but learn to dance in the rain. And I think you were kind of dancing over the wire there. Well, they give us topics to talk about each week, and this one is recognizing wholeness, seeing God in all. Ralph Waldo Emerson, the transcendentalist of the last century, 2 centuries ago actually, said, nature, the greatest delight which the fields and the woods minister is the sensation of relation between human and vegetable.
Huh.
We are not alone. They nod to us and we nod to them. And I was thinking about that, the relationship of humans to vegetation. I mean, haven't we all taken a walk in the woods and felt cleansed, felt quieted, felt whole, more whole than when we walked in? I mean, that happened to me years and years ago when I was traveling with people, and it was a constant go, 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 arrive, meet your host family, the next day rehearse, and on and on and on. And my host family happened to live near a woods, and I had the morning off, so I took a walk. And when I came out, my neck and my shoulders were so relaxed. And at 21 or 22 is when I realized the healing nature of the woods. And if we think about it too, have you ever hugged a tree?
Oh, yeah.
I was in Colorado and the sun had been shining on this lot of trees. So the bark was actually warm. And when I went up and hugged the tree, it was like this warm presence instead of a cold bark of a pine tree.
Yeah.
And I just hugged it for a while, and it felt like the tree was really embracing me with its own energy field. It was lovely. And then, coward that I was, when some people went by, I backed off real quick, stopped hugging the tree. And I thought later, that was so dumb. You don't even know those people. How many of you talk to your flower? How many of you have plants in the house?
I do.
I do. My mother did. My brother does. It's just sort of runs in the family. And it's good. It gives you oxygen at night. And they're green and it's lovely in the wintertime when outside is so brown and white and beige and all those things.
Yeah.
But I talk to my plants all the time. I tell them how beautiful they are. Every time they start blooming, I say, thank you for the new blooms. You're so welcome in my yard. I have for years and years, and I just love my flowers and their friends. Pamela says when I walk them in and out of the garage every day because it's going to freeze at night,
right.
that I'm walking my pets. But they're still blooming. The geraniums, the begonias, the petunias, they're still blooming fully. And the only reason they didn't freeze is because I walked them in and out of the garage at night. But that's humans and vegetation. What about humans and animals? I know we've got pet lovers over here.
Yeah.
How many of you have pets? Okay, another pet lover, pet lover, pet lover. I love pets, but I've always traveled or been too busy for dogs. I mean, and anyway, I just felt like it wasn't fair to the animal to take them into the house and then not play with them, not spend time with them. But you can communicate with your pets. And I know that Lolita and Dell communicate with their animals all the time, the feral ones as well as the ones that live in the house. We all do if we're with animals. And they are so intelligent, even the ones you don't know. There was a dog, just occurred to me, there was a dog down the street from me. It was a gold dog, and I don't know my varieties, so I can't tell you what kind, but it was that big, and it was very mean. It growled at you. It acted like it was going to bite you if you weren't skirting it like this. And I tried to avoid that corner most of the time. Well, one night I was walking my usual walk, and I came back up the hill, and there were two dogs. The gold one that was dangerous, and this other one with pointy ears like Marmaduke, whatever that species is. And I said, go home. Go home. And he just sat there and he looked at me like, what do you think you're doing, lady? And then the other dog started growling at me. And as it came towards me, I think it really did intend to bite me. The one with the pointy ears went up and bit it in the mouth and pushed it away from me. Now that's an intelligent dog and a very kind dog. And I felt at the time it was an angel from heaven saying, no, she's not going to get bit on this one. But I decided to walk the long way around home to avoid going past them again. But I was so surprised when the one that I kept saying, go home to, actually protected me from the other one. So they're smart. There's so much intelligence. Think of the man that said, my octopus teacher. That wasn't even a mammal that he was interacting with. And we all expect to be able to interact with porpoises after we watched Flipper. And we all think we can interact with whales because they're the same kind of intelligence. But an octopus, I mean, we know they're very intelligent, but for us to communicate with them, and it's more than just him. He did it in the wild, but there are those who have pet octopi who they really do interact with. So we are connected, interspecies, intervegetation in humans, if we choose to be. Or we can just say, that's a bunch of weeds over there. Remember 2 weeks ago, I was talking about evaluating and breaking the oneness of the tapestry by saying, I like the roses, but I don't like the dandelions.
Yeah.
That separates out. Now, you can have roses in your house and you can pull the weeds if you need to, but this dislike, I hate, you've heard people say, I hate weeds. We don't have to hate weeds to get rid of them. It's just they're in the way, or we can let them bloom and enjoy it. But it's that rejection that separates us from other things. And if we're willing to be in an observing mode instead of a projecting mode, we can then interact with the trees and the flowers and the squirrels, just like Disney. A Disney-esque world is available to any of us that choose to go that route. The unconditional acceptance of our pets gives us a sense of connection with other life forms.
Yeah.
Do we have the same unconditional acceptance of each other? Probably not. The guy that cuts you off in traffic, the guy that causes you to miss the left-hand turn, the guy that gives you the finger when you honk at him for missing the turn. I think most humans would agree with what Linus said in the Charlie Schultz comic strip. I love mankind. It's people I can't stand. Now, he put that in the mouth of Linus, but it actually comes from the doctor's Karamazov, Dostoevsky. And in that one, it's a much longer quote where he says, I would give my life for my fellow man. I would do all of this to help people. But don't put me in a room with another person for more than a couple of hours because I will go crazy. I don't like it when they cough too much or they burp or they do this and they do that. It annoys me. And he was just pondering within the book how I can give my life for mankind, for my country, these abstract thoughts, but you put me in a room with another person and I'm going to get very annoyed very quickly. So it's up to us then. What do we want to experience? And can we only love in the abstract, or can we love in the individual and allow people to be who they are and not find it continually annoying. It's our own judgments, our own criticisms, our own evaluations that separate us from one another. And that's always a choice, and it's our choice. But when we think in terms of how we are connected to this planet, they say that, what is it, a butterfly's wings can be felt in the Mojave Desert or something. That might be metaphorical in some respects, but there are so many other ways in which we are affecting things around the world with everything we do. The Sufi poet Hafez says, what happens when your soul begins to awaken your eyes and your heart and the cells of your body to the great journey of love? First, there is wonderful laughter and precious tears, and 100 sweet promises and those heroic vows that no one can ever keep. But still, God is delighted and amused that once you wanted to be a saint. What then happens when your soul begins to awaken in this world to your deep need to love and serve God? Oh, the beloved will send you some wonderful wild companions. And I thought about that a lot. And I thought, is he talking about wild animals? Because he could. The more peaceful and loving we are, the more they don't feel frightened around us. They don't have to run away. But does he mean something else? Something wild companions, companions that don't conform to the shoulds of society, that don't conform to all the things we think people ought to be and ought to do and ought to look like if they're going to be this, that, or the other thing or receive our respect. When we truly want to love and serve God, we will receive wondrous and wild companions, very kind or otherwise. It's really nice. So, where are we going with all this? Well, this planet needs our attention. Judy Canato, in her book Radical Amazement, writes, the freedom of any part is connected to and influences the whole. The freedom of any whole is connected to and influences the various parts. And since the human beings, are but one part of a greater whole, our anthropomorphic notions of freedom must go. No longer can the human say to the water, I have no need of you. I'll drain the swamp. Or to the rainforest, I have no desire for you. I'll cut you down. Because all Earth's resources are intricately woven into a seamless whole. The way we value and take care of each part equals the way we value and take care of ourselves. Mm-hmm. So it isn't just to achieve that wonderful Disney-esque feeling of being one with the birds and the rabbits but it is a responsibility to take care of the garden. I don't think we were ever really kicked out of the Garden Eden. I think we turned our backs on it. Mm. God wouldn't punish us like that. But if we turn around and say, oh, I can't be free and innocent, I'll have to clothe myself, I have to start judging good, I have to start judging bad, this is right, this is wrong, we kick ourselves out of the Garden of Eden. Right. And we can come back anytime. That's the beauty of it. But we have to realize that everything is intricately woven. Think about a knit sweater and you get something hooked and you say, oh, I don't need this. I don't like this color anyway. And you start pulling. What happens to the rest of the sweater? It's going to come apart. We have to be responsible earthlings. And we're going to be more likely to do that when we honestly respect every life form as an extension of ourselves, which it is. The Christian mystic Hildegard of Bingen from the Middle Ages said, God has arranged all things in the world in consideration of everything else. Think about that. God has created everything in the world in consideration of everything else. Yeah. There is no throwaway. There's maybe a move it over here, but there is no throwaway because everything has a purpose. I know we don't like mosquitoes and flies at a picnic, but mosquitoes and flies feed birds. And birds eat a lot of them. So it's all intricately woven, and we mess with one and the whole ecosystem starts to go like that sweater. So then what is the answer to all of this? It's up to us. It's up to us. We can experience the oneness, or we can separate out only that which we find appealing and reject everything else that does not meet our approval. It's always up to us. In Hinduism, they go a step further than that. It's not just a matter of do I approve or not approve. It's do I feel you? Do I respond to your needs, your pain, your loneliness, your joys, your success? Do I resent when you win the race, or do I rejoice with you for winning the race? Wow. And the Hindus would say, when a person responds to the joys and the sorrows of others as if they were his own, he has attained the highest state of spiritual union. Highest state. Because we know that we're all connected. I rejoice with you, I cry with you. I don't, however, allow you to play the victim, because that is not a loving thing to do, but that's a different talk. And I'm going to close with Ernest Holmes. Of course, we're going to have at least one excellent quote from our founder. Everything that lives proclaims the glory of God. Every person who exists manifests the life of God. There is one spirit in which we live, one mind by which we think, one body of which we are a part, and one light that lighteth every man's pathway. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Now we get to have comments.